Alright, in this lesson we're looking at calculating perimeter of 2D shapes. Now we need to remember what perimeter is, and that is the full border, right, the full length of the border around a 2D shape. Right, remembering that 2D is just this one plane here, and you can go in two different directions there, which makes it 2D. Right, we have a heap of different shapes here, and what we need to know is what they are for a start, and then exactly what to do with them. Alright, so nice and simple. We're going to start with square. We understand what this is, and what it is a four-sided shape, and it's got four equal sides. And our perimeter is therefore going to have four of the same length, which makes it 4 times our S for side, right? 4 times this side here. Now, this one here is a rhombus, very similar looking in that it is a square, but it's tipped. Same thing though, in that we've got 4 sides that are the same. Now, the tricky part here is that we are in the same boat as the square, but it's just tipped, so that's going to throw you, but don't let it, because the perimeter is the same rule, 4 times S, 4 of the sides there. If we had to build a fence around it, it would just be those 4 sides added together. They are all the same, so 4 times S. The same kind of rule applies for something like this. Now this in particular is a regular hexagon, and regular means all the sides are the same, so that means we'd be doing the same thing. We'd have to count up how many sides that had, and in this case it has 6, and we would have to say the perimeter equals, in this case 6 times side, because it's the same. Now you could have an octagon with 8 times S, all those kinds of things, okay? So there are nice easy ones to start with. Now, different territory here, but we've got our rectangle. We've seen it before, and if we are trying to calculate its perimeter, we can see very clearly it has 2 long sides that are the same and 2 short sides that are the same. So we are going to say it is 2 times this is our width and this is our length, so 2 times length plus width. You might see it written another way. You might see it written 2 times L plus 2 times width. All perfectly fine, okay? It does the same thing. It adds up those sides and recognises that there are 2 that are the same and another pair that are the same. Right, this here is a parallelogram, okay? And we can see that these 2 sides run in the same direction, and these 2 sides also run in the same direction forever and ever without touching, okay? But if we are trying to build a fence around this shape, the perimeter is actually the same as a rectangle. It is just a rectangle that is tipped over, and we can see we have 2 sides that are the same here and 2 that are the same here. So same idea, right? 2, in this case we'll call this one A and this one B. So it'd be 2 times A plus B, or if you wanted to write it as 2 times A plus 2 times B, that would be fine as well. Okay? Alright. Let's get on to some of our different shapes. Now, what we've got here are 2 triangles. Now, in this case, we've got this one that has all 3 sides the same, and it's a little bit like these ones up here. Its perimeter, if it's an equilateral triangle, is going to be 3 times this side, because there are 3 equal sides. If you look at this one, however, and it's an isosceles triangle, it's got 2 that are the same and 1 that is different. So our perimeter is going to be 2 times, I'm going to say side 1, given that this is side 1, plus side 2, because this is our slightly different side. Okay, if we have a composite shape, meaning it can actually be broken down into 2 little shapes, we've got 2 rectangles there. What we need to do is think about, if we're building a fence around all of this, we have to take every single side and add it together. So in this case, it's not as easy as it looks, because we've got to label every single side. Side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4, and side 5, and side 6. Right, and there's no easy way of doing it, but you would simply have to say the perimeter equals side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 plus side 4 for however many sides there are. Right, there's no simple rule for those kinds of ones, but it is important that you still write that rule that you're showing someone that you're doing that working at. Okay, and our circle here, the trickiest one of all of them, we have some really important information on this circle. Number 1 the measurement from the circle centre out to the edge is called our radius, remember, our radius, and if it goes from outside through the inside and back to the outside again, it is our D for diameter. Right, really important measurements to remember. If we are trying to find the perimeter of the circle, it has a special name, and it's called the circumference. We're not simply finding perimeter anymore, well, technically we are, but it's called the circumference. So, our circumference of a circle is going to equal pi times the diameter. Remembering that the diameter is from the outside, inside and out again. You will also see it written circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius. And that is because our diameter is 2 of these radii stuck together. So that's saying 2 of the radii equals our diameter times by pi. It is the same thing. I would prefer that you use this one, mainly because our 2's and our r's are going to come to things a bit later in our area, and it's going to get quite confusing. So there's a lot of rules there. Can I recommend that you write them down, you draw all the shapes down as well, and that you practice using them as much as you can.